Greetings to everyone in this weekly edition of Gaming Console News. The headlines today: Sony is shutting down Blu-ray disc production. The PlayStation 5 is now the most successful project in the entire console lineup. There's some fresh information about the new installment in the Metro series, and Bloodborne has been optimized for PC. Well, my friends, make yourselves comfortable, check your subscription to the channel, brew yourself a cup of tea, and let's dive into the latest updates. As I mentioned in the previous episode, Sony is actively working on the development of the new PlayStation 6, which has sparked even more rumors from insiders. It's expected that by the end of this year, the console might have its first fully functional dev kit. Reports suggest that the company has already developed a new processor for the PS6 and is now working to bring all its innovations together. And next year, Sony reportedly plans to begin the mass production of games for the PS6 so that, by its release in 2027, the console will have a decent library of launch titles. In short, it looks like the PlayStation 5 will soon step into the background, and in a year or two, we'll once again have to shell out for a new next-gen box to keep playing all the latest and greatest games. After Trump's inauguration in America, many companies began to massively reject agenda-driven content. Their yet-to-be-released inclusive games and movies were either completely canceled or had their development restarted, with scripts being virtually rewritten from scratch to align with the new trends. As for Sony, the end of agenda-driven projects in America will put some of the strongest pressure on the company. Initially, Sony faced issues with its games, leading to the cancellation of more than 10 live service titles. And now it will also have to cancel inclusive titles that were meant to at least somewhat salvage a series of total failures. According to Sony's financial report, the PlayStation 5 has generated more profit than all previous PlayStation consoles combined in just 4 years. Despite the industry continuously pushing the narrative that consoles are unprofitable and we sell them at a loss, the PlayStation 5 has brought in a staggering $10 billion in just 4 years. For comparison, it took the PlayStation 4 a full 7 years to reach a profit of $9 billion. Meanwhile, the report clearly highlights that the PlayStation 3 was the most unprofitable project of its generation, losing $4 billion and only breaking even by the end of its life cycle. The PlayStation 5 is achieving record revenue, but since 2022, profits have been declining due to costs related to live service games and a series of less-than-ideal launches. Market analysts predict that in the coming years, Sony will heavily rely on Ghost of Yoda and Grand Theft Auto 6, which are expected to bring the company significant revenue. This is especially true for the latter, as GTA 6 will be an exclusive on consoles. I can't even imagine the size of the deal between Sony, Microsoft, and Take-Two. How much money they must have thrown to ensure GTA 6 remains a console exclusive for at least a year. Barely having added God of War and several other games to the PlayStation Plus catalog, Sony has already announced a lineup of titles that will be removed from the subscription on the 18th of February. As of now, the list includes 8 games, such as Tales of Arise, The Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition, Outriders, Scarlet Nexus, and Bulletstorm. This means your last chance to play these titles is approaching until the 18th of February. So if any of these caught your eye, I strongly recommend making the most of the remaining time. The PlayStation 5 has once again received a software fix. System Update 1060 has been released. While the update is not mandatory to install, I'll be honest, there's really no reason not to do it. According to the official specifications, the update improves system stability and fixes issues with messages and readability on certain screens. Moreover, updates like these often address hidden bugs and closed platform vulnerabilities on the PS5. For the average gamer, there's nothing particularly exciting about this update. You can safely install it and rest assured that your console won't get bricked. The Chinese studio S-Game has unveiled a new 6-minute gameplay trailer for its highly anticipated PlayStation 5 exclusive, Phantom Blade Zero. The trailer is entirely focused on showcasing intense combat against powerful enemies and an epic boss fight. While it may resemble a classic Souls-like game, it's not a direct representative of the genre. The only similarity lies in the structure of the locations. The combat system, however, is designed as a hack and slash with a strong emphasis on accessibility and dynamic action. The developers have repeatedly stated that they were inspired by titles like Devil May Cry and Metal Gear Rising. The trailer brilliantly highlights the high-octane, colorful battles that await players. Although the developers have yet to announce a specific release date, insiders are predicting a launch window in late 2025 or early 2026. Experts from Digital Foundry have successfully launched and analyzed the sacred PlayStation 4 exclusive Bloodborne on PC. They ran it through the Shad PS4 emulator with a performance of 60 FPS and a resolution of 1152p. Hardware at the level of a Ryzen 75700X and an RTX 4080 graphics card achieves almost stable 60 FPS with minor drops to 55 frames, which, in my opinion, is forgivable. The emulator overall performs well and delivers decent performance. The experts noted that occasional minor graphical artifacts are visible, but they are so insignificant that they can be ignored. Thus, it can now officially be said that Bloodborne is almost no longer a PlayStation 4 exclusive, as it is playable on PC, even if with some minor workarounds. Despite a wave of rumors, the Horizon MMO has not been cancelled. The project is still in development and may yet be completed. Speculation about the cancellation of the online game from this popular series began after reports of NCSoft shutting down 3 games with code names: Project Pantera, Project G, and Project H. The internet was convinced that the code name H referred to the Horizon MMO, especially after a game build had been leaked confirming its existence. However, as is often the case, gamers' assumptions turned out to be wrong, and the MMO is still alive and well. At the moment, there are 2 multiplayer games in the Horizon series under development: the MMO and a live service game by Guerrilla Games themselves. So far, the company has been in no rush to share official details about these projects, but it's possible that we'll learn much more later this year at the PlayStation Showcase. As it turns out, Sony is halting the production of Blu-ray discs, but it's not as dire as it seems for PlayStation owners. Sony shut down its consumer Blu-ray and optical disc manufacturing plants in mid-2024, with the final closure scheduled for February of this year. However, the company has announced it will maintain production lines for business and corporate clients, as long as they remain profitable. The demand for physical game editions has been gradually declining year by year, but PlayStation owners can rest easy. Blu-ray game editions will continue to be released for at least 4 to 6 more years, thanks to the large stockpile of already manufactured discs. Moreover, Sony's competitors like Pioneer have not abandoned this niche and plan to continue producing Blu-ray discs. So I'd like to say that all this panic spread by some news outlets is completely unjustified. Physical editions will still be functional even on the next generation of consoles, although it's entirely possible that it could be the last one. According to gaming consultant Daniel Camille, who works in China, the success of Black Myth: Wukong has inspired Chinese investors to support local single-player games. One such project is Phantom Blade Zero. Thanks to the tremendous success of Wukong, Phantom Blade received substantial additional funding, which is great news for its developers. This is particularly noteworthy given that Chinese investors had previously focused primarily on free-to-play mobile games. It's also worth mentioning that the development of Phantom Blade Zero began simultaneously with Wukong. Therefore, it can't be considered a hype project solely aimed at cashing in on Wukong's success. Ted Price, the founder and head of Insomniac Games, is stepping down from the company. After 20 years of inspiring leadership, Ted is passing the reins of Insomniac Games to new leaders, Chad Desern, Jack Huang, and Ryan Schneider. The team is confident that Insomniac will continue its triumphant journey, focusing on highly anticipated projects like Marvel's Wolverine, and exploring the potential for adapting its iconic games into other media. Under Ted Price's leadership, Insomniac Games delivered bestsellers such as the Spider-Man trilogy and the Ratchet & Clank series. Many fans also fondly remember legendary franchises like Spyro and Resistance. For the company, this marks a new chapter in its history, and we can only hope that it will bring even greater success and further elevate the quality of their games. An enthusiast, and in my opinion a die-hard fan of the Xbox One console, has created custom panels for the PlayStation 5 inspired by his favorite system. As odd as it might sound, the minimalist design he presented highlights the PS5's sleekness and sophistication. To achieve this unique look, he scanned every curve of the PlayStation 5 Slim, 3D printed an external shell, and attached it to the existing panels. To add some contrast, the lower panel was finished in black, while the upper one is either light gray or white. It's tough to tell the difference. In my opinion, it looks pretty cool. What do you think? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. A number of insiders have revealed details about the upcoming installment in the Metro series, which is already in development. The game will feature a new protagonist, signaling a departure from the Artyom-centric storyline. There won't be an open world this time. The studio attempted to implement the concept, but faced significant technical challenges. As a result, the game will return to the structure of the first 2 entries in the series. Interestingly, players will have the chance to revisit familiar locations from previous games. However, some major changes have occurred at 4A Games. Many veteran developers who worked on Exodus, Last Light, and 2033 have left the studio. Despite this, the original book series authors remain involved in the project. The game's announcement is expected this year. Meanwhile, the studio is also working on a second project called Eola. This title will feature an open-world experience akin to Stalker, but with a cosmic theme. Let's keep our fingers crossed for the Metro reveal, hoping it delivers an experience that's at least as satisfying as Exodus. Resident Evil 6 has received an ESRB age rating for the Xbox Series, which may indicate an imminent release. It's highly likely that an official announcement will happen very soon for all current platforms, including the PlayStation 5. However, the PlayStation 4 might be in question, given rumors from insider Nate the Hate about a potential State of Play event in February, where this announcement could take place. Additionally, another reliable insider, Das Golem, shared some intriguing information suggesting that the next remakes in the series might focus on Resident Evil 0. As for Resident Evil 6, it might only receive a simple re-release or remaster. Nevertheless, this year, Capcom is expected to lay all its cards on the table and finally reveal to players what they've been working on. Well, dear viewers, thank you all for watching the PlayStation Gaming Console News. This was the IT Wednesday channel with you, and we'll see you in the next episode.